For the one or two people that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Henry Ogrodzinski, and I have had the pleasure of working with NASAO and its members since about 1996.
Henry was always a gentleman, but always a statesman.
He was the type of person that never met a stranger.
He cared. He really did care about people, and so he took the time to know them, their interests, their likes or dislikes.
He has an easy laugh. He's a warm person, so everybody gravitates toward Henry.
People gravitated towards Henry Ogrodzinski. That easy smile, the incredible knowledge of all levels of the industry, and a driving passion that inevitably led to a distinguished career. A career that touched all facets of aviation, from experimental aircraft, Delco Electronics, General Aviation Manufacturers Association, Gulfstream, the Dayton Air and Trade Show, and finally, President and CEO of NASAO.
Which was used by the Germans during World War II.
Henry O., as his friends knew him, was the voice for many of the founding fathers of the aviation industry.
3 people in our industry have hired Henry to be their spokespeople: Paul Poporesny, Ed Stimson, and Alan Paulson. All 3 of these individuals are giants in the field of general aviation. Each one of these people looked to Henry to be able to effectively communicate their goals and their visions for their association, their company, and their industry. And I think that says a lot about Henry.
With his upbeat personality, impeccably tailored style, and extensive knowledge of all things aviation, Henry was able to bridge gaps and bring consensus between so many different facets of the industry.
He understood the industry on many different levels, from experimental basis, from the corporate aircraft manufacturers, and from the airport operators, and the state, and the FAA. He knew all elements of it.
Henry just did such a fantastic job with that responsibility. He had the connections up on Capitol Hill, and he could reach out to FAA or TSA, and then other aviation trade organizations. He had that capability.
It was that vital work on Capitol Hill with NASAO that greatly affected so many people across the aviation community. He built his reputation on being honest and knowledgeable, and when it came down to getting his point across, Henry O. was a master storyteller, explaining aviation issues on the national scale in a way everyone could understand.
When you went with Henry to Capitol Hill, it's like taking a page out of Gentleman's Quarterly. We would walk into a room, it could be filled with other congressmen, senators, and it'd be like a little bit of a pause. Oh, hey, Henry.
Henry was a leader that was very easy to follow, and he was the kind of person that you would go to the top of the hill with him.
I remember one time going to see my senior senator, Jay Rockefeller, and we were talking about a couple aviation issues that were very critical to the states. And we had Senator Rockefeller's support, but he looked at me and he said, "Susan, you need to send Henry O. to the Hill."
Same sort of landing gear used on Cessna aircraft today. The tires may be a little smaller. They were used for...
It wasn't just his aviation knowledge or his desire to bring people together to form partnerships, but his ability to form friendships that made Henry O. a man that so many listened to and so many looked up to.
Well, I think it's the humanistic side of the way Henry conducted business. I mean, anybody he met, he made sure that they were special, they were important, he made them feel like they were significant, and that was really truly an art he had.
Even through the years as he was fighting cancer, a lot of people didn't know he was sick. His energy level was always high.
At AAAE, we enjoyed a partnership with Henry for so many years, and our members will greatly miss Henry's wit, wisdom, and collaborative nature.
Warmth, compassion, and a tireless work ethic cemented Henry O.'s reputation as a leader. That leadership transformed NASAO into the internationally respected advocate for aviation that it is today. Becoming the president and CEO in 1996, Henry led NASAO into national prominence, representing state government aviation interests.
He was able to get people to understand what the national issues were, how to relate their issues to the national issues, how they kind of came together, and how we can move forward and take care of some issues on a national level with Congress and FAA and those kind of things.
Bringing those people together, forging those friendships, and mentoring colleagues along the way put Henry on the national stage. Guiding people in their career choices and putting people and their friendships first was what set Henry O apart from the rest. And everybody had a Henry O story.
My wife said, "Hey, I'd like to get a picture of you and Henry." And I stood and tried to get, next to Henry to do that. And Henry said, "No." And he just went behind. He put his hands behind my shoulder and just big old smile and said, "Here's Mike," and pushed me out in front of the camera. And I said, "Henry, come on, I want you next to me." He goes, "No, just take the picture, Ella." So my wife took the picture, and that's the picture that you see today. I love the picture. I love looking at it. And that was a perfect capture of what Henry O was like.
I wish I could dress as sharply as he did. On his worst day, he looked like he just walked off the counter, stepped off the pages of GQ magazine.
Henry, you're the most dashing man in Washington. He always looked so handsome. We would bond over fashion. He had his pocket square and his beautiful suit.
NASAO was there at the beginning.
Henry O's way with people, a kind, guiding hand, and his infectious spirit helped him rally his friends and colleagues to virtually any cause. Henry O helped write aviation's storied history and helped guide aviation toward a promising future.
Henry O toiled relentlessly on behalf of the aviation community for decades. And in so doing, he helped shape the industry we all love so much. We miss you already, good friend.
And then when I heard when he was in hospice, I tried to reach him. I wanted to call him and talk to him and stuff like that, but he already was to a position where he couldn't take a call anymore. And so I keep thinking, I wish I would have talked to him, because if I had talked to him, I probably would have said, "Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being my friend and always being there and giving me good counsel." And I also will miss him.
I just am grateful that I had those years to spend with Henry, to learn from him, to work with him. And that will be a part of my career that will always be a joy when I think back of my years in public service. It will be the time that I was able to work with Henry and with NASAO on aviation and airport issues.
We'll all miss Henry. There'll never be another Henry.